good crowd in for Twilight Footy, exclusively on Fox Sports.
And BT, the really only hope Melbourne have, or not the only hope, that Melbourne have to win the contested ball out of the middle. They have to get the ball into their forward line and stop the Hawks getting it going their way.
Stephen Martin, you see there lining up at full forward. Cyril Rioli as well in that contest as we get a free kick to start the contest here in the middle of the ground.
Well, the Hawthorn ruckman jumped early, as we were told pre-match by their coach, and
Johnson wide to Green, couldn't get it. Lewis there now. Went to ground, the smother by Green. Pretty scrappy start here. Remember, Melbourne to the right of screen here. The Hawks to the punt road end at the G, and Guerra and Aaron Davey has been superb this year.
And boys, the way Melbourne played last week with their young players getting in and just running and taking risks in the first 3 quarters against the Western Bulldogs, that's how they need to start today. And if they can do that, they pose a real chance for the game.
An opportunity for the big fella Taylor to work it down, and now Bruce Maloney, just inspirational last week. The Melbourne forward half, here's Murphy, an opportunity for him. Guerra, Green was tackled hard, and Sewell with lots of energy. And now the Hawks just retreat and wait and size up their opportunities, but they don't execute all that well. Dowler happy to concede over the line.
And up the other end of the ground, we've got the 2 most dangerous forwards in the business. Roughhead, he's being picked up by Warnock, and Franklin is with Rivers, and they've got the whole forward line to themselves.
Third man up was Sylvia. Opportunity here for Davey on his wrong right side, and now Bate gets it back to the man that started it in Sylvia, and he didn't have the composure when it really required.
Yeah, probably should have settled down and taken a bit more time, but Aaron Davey, he is the barometer for the Melbourne Footy Club. If he can get his hands on the ball, 25, 30 times and deliver it in the forward line in a good fashion, they're a chance.
Geez, a nice stoppage though. Great tap to Davey, who was well clear.
Yep. There is Bo Muston, the man that Rowan Smith spoke of. And
that is a big tackle. Well done, McGlynn, getting up there.
Yeah, didn't he? Bounce up quick, but it must have had an effect because he kicked it straight to the opposition's Johnson. He plays on immediately with that little left foot loper. Mitchell, class act in the middle. 25-metre spot-on handball that had so much juice on it that Williams couldn't control it. Melbourne with some numbers. Whelan in the middle again. Johnson. Sewell tries to break 2 tackles. That was almost dropping the ball. Lewis and Bate. It's on here at the G. Here is Muston. His second touch in return to footy.
Franklin.
And now an opportunity to go in that direction. He's got good body position. Was there a free there? Umpire wanted nothing of it.
Well, they did pretty well there, BT. Both defenders clamped down on the one man, but have a look at this earlier tackle. That's too high, but clearly the intent was there. And now Buddy Franklin, with the 2 going to him, dangerous early if you both go to ground.
Yeah, you want to make sure it goes out of bounds if you both going for the ball. Interesting, during the week when I interviewed Buddy Franklin, I knew he was a big man and tall, but he is a massive man. He's
staggering when you stand next to him.
He's huge, fast, and anyone to say he's overweight, ridiculous comment.
What does he do in the beat test for those young people watching that know 15s, I think it is.
15, I think, yep.
Which is astonishing and equal to any of the little men in the competition.
I reckon between the 3 of us nowadays, boys, we probably get 15. We added up our scores.
I'm not sure what I can contribute there, Hurdy.
Johnson's off to a good start in winning the footy. Just got to get a bit better with when he lays it off.
Umpires today, Brett Rosebery, Sam Hay, youngster, and Michael Avon in charge. Been a great round for the umpires. Not much controversy on offer. And they seem to have let the games flow that I've been to this weekend. 2 of them that I've seen, and another on TV is Bruce.
Smart kick from Bruce, going to space.
It was.
Had nowhere else to go.
So just gives his defenders and attackers an opportunity to try and close Hawthorn down. McGlynn.
And both sides trying to get numbers back across the defence. Melbourne definitely pushing numbers back into a bit of an old-fashioned flood at the moment.
Sylvia. Whelan. Got one on the wing in Bruce. Elected not to go to that contest.
Poor kick, BT. He had Bruce all clear and decided to go a 3-on-1. He really should have gone over the top of Cameron Bruce. And Cameron Bruce is letting him know at the moment.
Bo Muston's 3rd touch in league footy. Sets up the run here of Lewis with a withering ball forward. Good mark in the hotspot Grimes.
Now this kid's got a great footy brain, and he hasn't been around long, but that just shows, Hurdy, that he's going to be a player of some quality. knowing what was coming. Franklin, it was a goal going to Hawthorn. He's just peeled off and made it.
Played off man and then and read the play and just moved into that spot. Terrific play from Grimes.
And boys, also Jack Grimes got a big job tonight. He's lined up on Cyril Rioli, so he's going to have to watch him as well.
Huge job, Smithy. You're quite right. Morton's kick, not fantastic. Green needs to be sharp and sends it back out in the Morton direction. Combines with Green, who's under some pressure to kick it around the body and forcing the contest. Birchall, Mitchell arrives. James McDonald does the little things you don't often notice that make him a complete player.
Kick.
Was Guerra. Finds Morton of the Hawks. Bateman, the running goal to the punt road end, is inch perfect.
Terrific running BT from Bateman, but they won the ball across half-back and then moved it across with handball. Cameron Bruce a long way away from Chance Bateman, Jared.
Just didn't read it quickly enough. Bateman was first out of the blocks. And this is one of the great aspects of Hawthorn's game. It's the penetration of their left footers. There's Bateman. Now you'll find that Bruce is about 15 metres behind him. Just didn't quite read the turnover quickly enough, which happened 100 metres away, and the ramifications were at the other end of the ground.
The kick by Guerra decided to come in the middle and bring the ball into the channel and really change the direction of play. Was a crucial kick which enabled Hawthorn to get Bateman free and kick the goal.
It's a pivotal battle, the one you see on screen. We've seen Bruce get the ball out of defence, but Bateman is the best player for Hawthorn, I think second best in the league, about penetrating the forward 50, creating goals.
Great shot that down the ground.
And you mentioned before the game, Joe, that Cameron Bruce does like to play a little bit wide.
Well, he's a bloke that attacks most. Defensive man-on-man stuff is not his natural game. He's more of an attacking player, and he's going to have to really watch that aspect of it.
Franklin gets himself almost within range, winds it up. Not quite there. Morton missed contact with the ball, and now Silvio, who's operating in the defensive end of the ground at the moment. Miller, who's the third best present up forward in the competition in terms of marks.
Long way down the ground, though, getting it.
Yep.
Melbourne pushing a lot of players back so that when they have got the ball trying to push out, they're really going to hit the wall if they put so many players back into their back line.
There was the designated kicker in Davey. Get it in his hands at all costs. Anywhere on the ground is the general direction given to Melbourne players.
But what we've seen in the first 5 minutes, and only been going 5 or 6 minutes, I know you guys didn't think this was a chance, but the Demons, I think, have produced a game of footy over the last month, which suggests they're going to be very competitive this afternoon.
Agree with that, Jared.
I mean, I think their ferocity at the ball, they've given away a penalty here, has been a significant improvement this season.
Well, I know one team that they've already played say that the Melbourne attack on the ball is the most fierce in the competition.
Just their disposal, BT, I think has cost them. I know you've seen them a couple of times recently. Work rate unquestioned. Just disposal decision-making still a development issue.
McGlynn. And we'll throw it in. It's a lovely evening if you've just joined us in Melbourne tonight. It's overcast, not a breath of wind, and absolutely ideal evening conditions for footy. Free kick Johnson. In fact, it's going to go to the Hawks, is it? It is. Looks like it's going to go to Moss.
No one on the mark.
How big as Melbourne thought it was theirs, I reckon. Lewis, short ball, Franklin.
That's poor play, really. No one on the mark. Two players free, giving Buddy Franklin far too much space to lead into. And I don't mind him from this. I don't mind him from this side, Jared. Here's the free kick.
Definitely there, wasn't it?
Definitely there. But I don't mind him from this side, Jared, because he actually gets the ball to fade at the last minute. This is his side, I reckon, which is unusual for a left footer.
Here is Franklin. Goes out on that familiar arc, and this one's beautiful. Coming back just as he would have liked it. Magnificent kick from the superstar of the comp.
Doesn't happen very often that you call them, because normally you call them, Jared, in your 15, 20 years of footy commentary, they always let you down.
Yeah, yes, you can generally put a moz on a bloke, Hurdy, and you did your very best there. You'll get better at it as you get more experience. But what was interesting was it didn't really have the big fade as we've seen. It was more of a straight kick from Buddy Franklin.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, it's a good kick, but the reason that goal was able to happen is there was Hawthorn players free on the 50-metre line that had too much space, and there was no one in front of Buddy Franklin, between Buddy and the ball. If he has a straight lead in front without having to beat a player, he's unstoppable.
Comes back to a silly free kick at the stoppage. Got to get those little 1%ers out of their game.
James Frawley with the job of his life, I would say, to date in his career. A big responsibility given to him by Dean Bailey, Johnson, McLean, and now Sylvia, who's been prominent early, not necessarily tidy, but prominent As Bruce had to double back, and Johnson's going to be under the pump here. Jones started the day on the bench, and Bruce again. So they gain control in the midfield. Now they need to work forward with some purpose. Good-looking ball. Mark is taken here by Sylvia.
It's a good kick, BT. And Cameron Bruce there, twice he had the opportunity to kick and just didn't want to bomb it into the Hawthorn zone. He wanted to look for a target and find some space. Here he is. You'd think he would kick that ball in the forward line, but goes backwards. And a nice kick by Marrick.
There's the lovely kick, Adam Marrick.
Into Sylvia for a shot at goal.
One of the...
Certainly made the distance. Just a question of whether or not it's straight.
Here is Sylvia. A little bit of right to left, perhaps, for him. Goes in that direction now a little bit too much. And just the first goal for the Demons are behind. Beautiful kick by Marrick, and he's fast becoming one of the prominent best by foot for the Demons. And was a three-time All-Australian as a junior. One of the best juniors in Victoria in his time. Short Paul Hawthorn, and now an opportunity for Jared Morton. Stokes. In and out of the Hawthorn lineup.
Just got to get tighter on Mitchell. They look for him mid-ground. He positions well, and his disposal, as we've just seen, superb.
Just such a good distributor, isn't he? Sewell with a lovely weighted kick finds Osborne. He was going to go for the one that he kicked from the boundary line a week or two back, and thought the better of it this time. I think it was over in Perth, wasn't it?
Yep.
So Cyril gave him the ball.
Not just Mitchell, Jared. They need to get tighter in the midfield, Melbourne, providing the Hawthorn runners with just a little bit too much space through the midfield corridor.
McLean and Green combined. Green goes long, and he's looking there for an opportunity, and Pettit couldn't mark it. And now the Hawks defensively looking
nice kick.
Accomplished. Davey, I think, just came off the bench, didn't see him.
Aaron Davey just loved that one.
He did. Snuck off the bench, and look at that kick into the hole to Robinson. A little heavy. Over the back here, Marrick. White cross. Marrick, clean hands. Picked up by Miller. Robinson had a bit too much heat on it. He's got a free, though. Russell Robinson will line up.
Well, they made a meal of it a couple of times there, the Demons, but their attack on the footy was unrelenting, and therefore they've bobbed up with a free kick. Campbell Brown just coming over the top of Russell Robinson.
Umpire sneaking a peek at the big screen too, Jared, just to see how he went with that one.
It was probably only 50-50.
Normally they don't look up, they refuse to, but he caught a peek and he liked what he saw. Here is Robinson, directly in front. Kick on the way is good. The Demons get their first goal of the evening.
And it's just interesting to watch the way Melbourne bring in their forward line. We spoke before about Bruce not wanting to bomb it in because Campbell Brown's so good in the air at zoning off, and they want to get these passes right and get them accurate as they come into the forward line.
Be interested in your thoughts, Ernie. At times I think the Demons don't lead up enough. They don't spread wide enough in their forward line. There's a lot of blokes trying to get back, run back towards the goals, but it leaves the ball carrier stranded almost.
Which plays into Hawthorn's hands beautifully because they're so good at making a 2-on-1 situation or a third man up that if you're not leading up at the player, it's too easy for the defenders to knock that out of the way at the moment.
Watched Geelong the other night. You talk about that spread that you talk about. Gee, are they the best in the competition at providing that spread? They are the trendsetters in that area. Free kick, the Demons.
Geez, they are on to this, the Hawks. That's the second one.
We might have another look at that.
The umpires against the Hawks. He crossed the line early, and he's just blocking his run.
Martin gives it off, and now Bate. He's a left footer. I think Muston may have forgotten that, and Davey provides the lead. Did he hurt himself?
And that's a fantastic kick in at the belly button. There's just no way you can defend that as a backline player if you're playing from behind.
Muston actually forgot, as we take a look at the free kick that started this with Stephen Martin receiving it, and said that Taylor restricted his jump.
Yeah, a free kick, and if you don't watch the ball, it's hard to hit it.
Aaron Davey here for the Demons to hit the front.
Hold it.
He has.
Once again, there was an example of Melbourne not spreading. There was three fellows almost led to exactly the same spot there. Fortunately, Davey was that far in front, it didn't matter, but wider options would make it more difficult for the Hawks defence to close down.
Here's Campbell. The big man moves. That's a beautiful kick from Campbell to Williams. Dropped the easiest of marks in the end, Mark Williams there. And the Hawks go in the buddy direction, but getting back was Morton.
Your mail during the week, Jared, that the Hawthorn are a bit flat. How do you see them starting today?
Well, I think it's probably a little bit too early to tell, but they had a couple of big training sessions. But when you get tackles from behind like that, it inspires everybody.
How can that not be dropping the ball? He neither handballed it nor kicked it. It was right in front of him. Stokes, fast hands Lewis. Handball back inside to McGlynn. Run to the open goal.
And terrific pinpoint hand passing there, just instinctive hand passing. First handball straight through, and Gerard, it was a fantastic play by the Hawks. But the tackle from behind, when you get a turnover from a tackle from behind, it creates so much play. And Jones here just holding on to the ball a little bit too long, not knowing when to release the ball. As a player coming out of the back line in the forward, you've got to know when to release it. Then this instinctive handball which creates the goal, and nice finish for another goal for the Hawks.
Well, it was a magnificent finish, but it all came about by great forward pressure.
Yep.
I mean, Jones just didn't have anybody up forward to deliver it to, then tried to kick off the outside of his foot. And this is a dangerous one now, because the fellow that's looking after Aaron Davey has now been a significant contributor going into the forward line.
And you can also see, Gerard, that he actually made him pay where Davey misses his goal, and then Ben McGlynn runs forward and kicks his.
Better work from the Hawks. Ruckman there, jumped high and out hard at the footy.
There's Guerra. Melbourne go forward again to the dangerous area. Whitecross did well under enormous pressure. And here is Muston, who's been prevalent in this early opening with 6 touches. Finds Sewell. Bateman provides lots of run and nice possession to Lewis. He's a very good provider. Goes high. They line up. Moss might have got on the back of Morton. No free kick. Rioli's lurking dangerously. He was hassled and tackled. A big hip and shoulder there. And that'll be a Hawthorn free. Got him too high.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Buddy was going to his knees, so that bump did get him too high. But, you know, Buddy Franklin's starting well. But the ball coming down that far wing, it just seems like Hawthorn have got the ball. They're switching it out that far wing, and Sewell and Lewis just seem to be lurking out there for a lot of the ball and pushing it into the Hawthorn forward line.
Franklin halving what he'd normally do in terms of a run up here, and see if the arc is as extravagant as it is from a fair way out. It's still there, it is, and he just measures it beautifully and does it well. So if you can provide that consistency and you know what you're doing, you'll goal.
Well, good conversion by the Hawks, and right now they're travelling at 75% efficiency in their kicking. Melbourne are down at 50%, and that just about tells the story. I think their work rate's been really good. There's the free kick. Certainly helped along for the cameras by Buddy, but James McDonald just came in a bit high.
Definitely got him in the head, Gerard, but unfortunately when McDonald came through, Buddy was going to his knees, which was hard to predict.
Ball was free in Melbourne's half-forward line only a second or so ago prior to it going the other end. And you just see the forwards. You see up the top there, Johnson and Russell Robinson, no pressure. They've got to come up earlier to put pressure on those receivers.
Back in the middle. We started all over again. The Hawks by 16 points.
And what that does, Gerard, with the lack of pressure, it allows Hawthorn to switch the ball the direction where they've got loose players. If you put them under pressure, they've got to give the instinctive kick, which might not be the right one every time.
There's Lewis. He'll get a free. You can hear the umpires issuing the reasons why. And Jordan Lewis, who's been very good, the leading possession, got it on the ground with 9. Here is an opportunity for Muston. Good-looking ball. Buddy, sliding dive.
You've inspired him, Hurdy.
Well, Buddy didn't even look like he was going to go for that ball. He decided at the last minute that he might put out a mitt and grab it. It was almost, he said, I'll leave it to Roughhead, and then, no, I won't, I'll grab it. It was I'm not sure the kick went exactly where it needed to, but it went to the top of the square, which is the most dangerous spot. Maybe we're being too harsh on him. His eyes were on the ball the whole time, and good work.
Franklin comes in for his 3rd goal in 18 minutes of footy, and he's got it. It's an exciting start for the big man of the comp.
And good on him. I mean, he's kicked, I think, 27 goals for the year, so he's had a reasonable start, but 3 goals already in the first quarter. Again, Hawthorn allowed to switch the ball to the direction they want to give without much pressure, kick it to the top of the square when you got guys like Roughhead and Buddy. I mean, they could have raffled it between them. This game, already Hawks out by 22 points, Gerard. Melbourne need to throw a punch back pretty quickly.
They do. They need to make the most of their opportunities. If you have a look at the inside 50s, the Hawks are dominating there too. 6 Melbourne to 11 Hawthorn. So it's one-way traffic at the present time. Now you can see there that Frawley has come for a rest. I reckon Chris Langford, who was inducted in the Hall of Fame on Thursday night, could have been on Franklin and he would have still had 3 kicked on him.
Back in the middle, fast start for the Hawks here, and they're going to reload off half-back. Whitecross, who's becoming an accomplished player across that half-back line. Good mark. Gee, Mark Muston has been incredibly impressive in this first quarter. Very composed. His kicking skills have been fantastic. 71% effective kicking skills so far in the game, which is pretty high.
They need to do something about Lewis too. 10 possessions already in the game, just far too much space.
Roughhead sets himself, didn't quite get the jump he wanted. Osborne got a nice little chair over the top. The handball out the back was a little bit quick there from Warnick. Now he's got to go back and get it. They're under pressure. Whelan involved, didn't have clean hands there, Petted. Now it comes back to the Hawks. They're all over the Demons' defence at the moment. Roughhead, Osborne. Lucky ducked the head. Kick, come back, shot at goal, missed. In the end, I think it may have been Morton of Hawthorn.
And Jared, often you can't tell who's playing who in this day and age, but it looks like Maloney's picking up Jordan Lewis. You'd have to say you need to close down on him. Lewis is providing too much drive, and, you know, his forward 50 entries at the moment are terrific.
Yeah, it's getting that balance right between having a go and taking the game on if you're in Melbourne's side and if you're Dean Bailey, and also respecting the fact that you're playing against the powerful side in the competition at the moment.
Well, 5 inside 50s to Jordan Lewis at the 20-minute mark of the first quarter.
Says enough.
Rivers. Looping handball, McDonald. Inside 50, Robinson, one out. Couldn't get it. I think he wanted a free. Umpire said no. And Pettard happy to see it over the line.
But a dangerous kick going in. I know Robertson went for the wrestle. In fact, I think he engaged the wrestle. But it looked like it was a dangerous kick, and that's what they haven't been getting so far.
Campbell-Brown will enjoy that tactic if it's going to go on all day.
Yeah, Robbo needs to get off his man and try and jump at the ball rather than wrestle Campbell-Brown, because Brown's very good in that position.
Whitecross. Moss.
Rioli's a danger man.
Over the top in that direction as he runs smoothly and quickly. Look at that. Aaron Davey wanted nothing of the evasive try there.
He's seen that shimmy before.
He has, and just funny how he read it beautifully. Mitchell's kick not great. Here goes Sylvia. Guerra, a lunging tackle, that was very good. Now Marrick keeps the ball in front. This is wonderful player from a young one. Got it to Miller. Miller to Robertson, needs to gain control. One too many. And I thought Marrick in the end probably could have gone.
I think they did the right thing, BT. This is just basic execution.
Yeah.
The rocket handball, Jared, you've been on it for the last 9 weeks. That might get a run on the couch again, I think, rocket handball.
That's inexcusable, missing that handball.
What don't you like about the rocket, Jared?
I think the rocket should be done. That was just poorly executed.
Introduced by Kevin Sheedy in 1980. Yep. I was there on the day when he sat down at the Richmond Football Club at Punt Road and said, boys, this is how we're going to handball from now on.
And it's just been almost a lost art. The shovel seems to have taken over BT, and we saw a great example of the shovel there.
Yep. Here is Guerra through the middle of the ground. Roughhead pushes Warnick underneath the ball.
Too good. I mean, Stephen Martin there, for all of his inexperience, it was on display there. He just either had to go the ball or had to go the man. He missed both.
Yeah, you've got to make a choice there, don't you? But he's very hard to beat Roughhead when he's in that position. I mean, he had the sit, he's got the strength, doesn't use his hands, and but Stephen Martin has to make the contest.
Now, guys, earlier in the year, that one was penalised. You weren't allowed to push out in the contest, according to the AFL officials, and now they let it go. I know it wasn't in the back. Roughhead kicks the goal. Hawthorn, great start. 6 first quarter goals, but I'm telling you now, boys, early in the year, I sat here, I think it was at this venue, or it might have been at Subi, and that was paid a free.
Yeah, well, probably can't disagree with you, BT. The interpretation seems to have changed slightly as the year's gone on.
Let's have a look at it. This is the rocker one you're talking about, BT. I know it happened in Western Australia when you left your chair.
Yes.
And you called for an adjudication.
Yes, and we got one back via the phone.
Push with the forearms, though. He didn't push with the arms.
But they say it doesn't matter, James. You need to read the rule book. The rule book says you are now not allowed to push, block, or hold in a marking contest.
Are you allowed to go for the ball?
You are.
Right, okay.
But we all know that that's exactly what we've done for years, is push, block, and hold.
Yep.
And so we know the interpretation over the last 100 years has been right. It was just the one at Subi that was wrong. There's Sewell. Took a long time to say something that should have been quite swift. Lewis, one of the rare times he's been caught in this game. Great start by the Hawks. Johnson. Tackle by Dowler. Now Whitecross. Jones over the top. Here's Miller. Has he non-preferred side, brought it back into the middle. Bate was a goal kicker last week. Goes underground with the ball and misses.
Well, talk about chalk and cheese. We've seen one of the worst handballs of the year, followed up by one of the best handballs of the year. That one from Miller to Bate, all done by the same man in the space of a minute.
It was a very nice handball, but maybe instead of going on the ground, just keep it in the air a bit, and that kick should have gone through for a goal.
A very, very casual and nonchalant Guerra there. I thought he was just tricking us, but it was real stuff. And as a result, Bruce is going to make him pay. That was unbelievably lazy from Guerra.
Got what it deserved, BT. When you kick out, you've got to pay respect to the other team, and that was a little bit of lack of respect for Melbourne there with the casualness of that kick out.
But well done to Cameron Bruce. He's pushed forward a couple of times now, and his disposals forward of the centre, I think, are going to count for a hell of a lot more than his ones in defence this afternoon. And this is the kick you're talking about. Yeah, it didn't look good on replay or live. Well done from Sylvia, who's had a reasonable start, getting the ball back and talking about moving it from left to right. Cameron Bruce knew he hit it well straight off the boot.
He certainly did. Cameron Bruce, of course, a 193-game veteran, fast approaching the 200-game milestone.
Smithy, a change has been made for the Demons. Brad Green's gone from forward to half-back.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to get a little bit of run, just put him behind the ball. He's just matched up on Osborne, so they just want to use his skills going forward, Jared.
There's Miller, pursued by Birchall. Lewis, the support act. Whitecross, out the back door they go, and they've got a nice lineup of players here to use. Guerra and Mitchell. Once again, a bit of height in the ball, and I'm not sure it was meant for Murphy, but it found him.
Always pays to keep your eye on the ball the whole time during the game, Jared, because someone's going to hit you in the back of the head if you're not watching it.
Yes. There's Jared Morton on the wing. Looking in there for Stokes. Free kick. Hawthorn's ball.
David Osborne is one of the toughest players to play on if you're a halfback. He's trying to, he gets on the sweepers and he makes the sweepers accountable more than anybody in the competition.
There's Stokes to Roughhead. Didn't quite get down. Wasn't a bad ball into the spot. And now an opportunity for Melbourne to protect the ball. Maloney goes wide and finds Marrick. Very nice overhead. I'm telling you, I'm starting to not fall in love with, but like Marrick's work. Here's Davey. Look at the wheels. Weaves back inside in precision football. Sylvia needs to tidy his up. 55 metres out. Robertson's getting back. Couldn't get it. Oh, Aaron Davey, you are an excitement machine.
Terrific ball from Murphy there, coming back with the flight of the play and flight of the ball. And you know, it looked like, well, Robbo had the sit and had the ball under control, but that's a great spoil coming from a long way back.
He's a developing player, Murphy. Figuring prominently now in Hawthorn's defence.
Better kick in from Guerra.
Looks to me like Robbo's just struggling to guard the space where the ball's dropping at the moment. You know, if you prop a few metres before that and you guard the space where the ball's going to fall, you prevent the player coming in with a punch. He's just struggling to guard that space a couple of times. The ball's come his way in this game.
Here's Mustin competing with Green. Green did well there. The 2-on-1 1 hour as McLean uses Green. Green goes the boundary side. Miller presents up, which he's so good at. He's a long way from home. We've got just over a minute remaining in the first quarter. This would be a nice get for the Demons. McLean in the middle. Can go short if he wants or across the ground, and he elects to go across and finds Warnick. Warnick can go wide, but elected to go inboard. Whelan thought about that same target wide, and in the end, Hawthorn have manned up beautifully. Gone the man-to-man. There's no zone in this. Sylvia. Opportunity here. Grimes centering ball.
Once again, no one coming at the bloke with the footy for Melbourne. They're all sagging off, and Grimes was left basically helpless.
The Hawks out of defence look good. Look at this. Stokes has got some space. Running forward to the ball. A great opportunity here for Bateman. The kick wasn't great. The bounce was kind. Keeps it alive. Don't tell me. Oh, Frawley just got there with a lunging effort.
He cost him a car then.
It was a goal. But unfortunately, a hand in time.
But even just to let the ball bounce and then read it off the bounce, I mean, Amazing reading of the play, and unlucky not to get a goal there.
Oh boy, James Hird had a bit of a patent over that style of thing.
I think it's still Peter Dacos still got that patent.
Well, there is the quarter-time siren. A very nice quarter of football. The Hawks by 21 points. And Buddy kicked 3 goals in that opening quarter. And the Hawks very, very impressive. 6-10-38 to the Demons. 2-5-17 to 21 point. Hawthorn lead at quarter-time. The Hawks by 21. Here's Sewell. Hawks to the right of screen. Sewell tries to break the tackle.
Too strong.
Got it to Osborne. That's a kick off the side of the boot. Might be all right for the Hawks as Roughhead underneath the ball, and in the end a result the Hawks would like.
And that's why you got to love Brad Sewell. Just willed his way to get that ball, pushed his way through, bullocked his way through. Not a goal creator, but that ball's in the forward line purely because of Brad Sewell.
Good challenge for Brock McLean. I mean, he's now got an opportunity to compare himself to a bloke who he should see as somebody he can equalise.
Bateman gets the first goal of the second quarter.
Yeah, and a goal from the stoppage, and coaches do not like goals from stoppages. Bateman reading the ball better as it comes off the stoppage and kicks this goal. Tell you what, Cameron Bruce and Chance Bateman, that's going to be an interesting battle, but as we see the ball get knocked Hawthorn's way, and Bateman just got round the back. I think Bruce was in the right position at the start. He was on the defensive side, but he then just slipped around behind him. And I know he wasn't. Cameron Bruce was not on goal side, and as the defender, you have to be goal side, Jared.
Yeah, I'm with you, Hurdy. I think it's impossible to know where he is as soon as you lose control. And I think you're better off having him in front of you so you can push him into the contest. And I think the classic at that is Cameron Ling. You watch the way Lingy tries to neutralise any attacking player. He gets behind, puts the big arms around, pushes him inside.
Start again. Here's Mitchell holding the ball a little too long, and the umpire got hold of him. Here's Johnson now. Distributes to Davey, and why not? McLean now got a bit of a foot race, looking for support. Pettard arriving late, and McGlynn's desperation was very impressive. And now to Sewell. On the wing, Sewell with a long ball, Buddy. Cyril in front. Did well. Pettard. Beautiful play, Rioli to keep it in. Just couldn't quite finish, but the kick is very good anyway. A little fortuitous. And Osborne marks.
Yeah, Osborne in too much space there. A lucky kick by Cyril Rioli, who's going for goals. But as this game goes on, Hawthorn are getting better and better. They're getting more desperate and more desperate. It's interesting. This might be the game that Hawthorn needed, Jerry, to get them back into some tip-top form.
Certainly haven't been flattened at all by the mid-season, the midweek tough training.
I'll tell you what, they're going to, I reckon, turn the halfway mark at 7-4, the Hawks, and they're going to be in a very, very good position as Osborne comes in and kicks the goal. They'll turn the halfway mark in third position on the ladder, which is a great start, considering they lost 3 of their first 4 games. Osborne gets his first goal of the game.
And there's just mistakes aplenty, and they're being exposed on just the little things. Have a look at this contest here. Now, this ball either had to go out, and he couldn't lose contact there, Grimes, with Cyril Rioli. He let him get inside him. He's lucky not to have a goal against him there, but Osborne was on the end of the kick anyway. And
Cyril Rioli's kick obviously shot a goal. It was a miscue, but the ball was in the air for seconds. And there's still no one near Osborne. I mean, you can't have a player loose in the defensive fifth for that long if you're serious about negating the opposition.
Just look at the Hawthorn players, what Osborne's doing there, and they're all caring about each other's starting positions and positioning. They're pointing and saying, you go there, I'll go here. They are just so switched on to each other's game and what the position requires. It's impressive. Here's Rioli. Look at this. Look at this. He wanted the give and go. Didn't quite give it back. An opportunity for the Hawks, but Rivers is going to stifle, although Moss there. Rivers in the end went for the boundary line and just about found it.
Sam Mitchell been important in the last 2 centre bounces, had his hands on the ball and got it going forward.
And this would be no surprise to Dean Bailey, who told us that Mitchell would push one up and Sewell would push the other, leave the space back. And that's exactly how they foreplanned it, yet they're not fulfilling, I guess, the plans that the coach had in place.
The Johnson and McLean combination was very effective. Pettard with an off-balance backing up handball that Davey made look better than it was. Kick wide to Martin. Needs some help, kept it alive. McDonald's there, Guerra as well. McDonald wasn't clean. And now Maloney concedes to the boundary.
No, he wasn't clean BT, and that was the important part. McDonald had a step or two on his Hawthorn opponent. In AFL footy, you've got to take an easy ball like that first grab.
Taylor. Miller. Bateman. Osborne. And Muston.
That's too easy, BT. Just worked out the back and then transfer the play across the other side of the ground. That's where Hawthorn kill you. You have to man them up out the back so they can't get the ball out this easily.
Birchall on his left. Lovely ball to Williams, who presents and marks. Hawthorn looking a touch formidable at the moment. The kick to Buddy. Sliding, diving, missing opportunity.
Great
and
lead, though, for Buddy. It was 2 or 3 angles there, BT.
Yep, it was very impressive. Now Whelan. Nice composure shown by him. McDonald.
Good kick.
Down the middle. It was very impressive.
The difference between the Hawks and Melbourne as they move the ball out is Melbourne only had one option to kick to. Whereas when the Hawks come out of the back line, they've got 3 or 4 options.
Mitchell on the Bruce tackle. Got rid of it. Here's Taylor. Miller head over the ball. Nice win. Martin to the dashing Davey. The little Princey kick forward. Found Pettard. 55 out. Bates trying to get loose. They got no one long. He goes long, Pettard. It'll need the wheels, but it won't have them. Brown gets back.
Not the best option there, Jared.
Well, it wasn't, but I don't think either was the 2 leads who led across his body.
Well, then be patient, Jared.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that's the area where they need a lot of work, the Demons, and that is when they got the ball inside their forward 50 or approaching it, got to get a bit smarter.
Composure. Here's Franklin on the boundary line. A chiselling ball to Roughhead. Got both hands out, couldn't hold the mark. Crowd a little restless, wanting interference. Nothing on offer. Whelan ran into trouble. He's gone. Took too long. The umpire gave him fair opportunity. And it'll be a Roughhead free.
Well, it's just some classic signs of falling right apart here now. The Demons really do have to just, even Flood, I think, Hurdy, just to get it all back to a neutral situation again and just try and slow this rampaging Hawk machine down.
You've got to do something, but here we see Jared Roughhead. Just great pressure. Talking to Buddy Franklin during the week, he's measured by the tackles, the spoils, the defensive things he does in the forward 50. Jared Roughhead created this goal from a defensive action.
For his second goal, Roughhead, from just 20 metres out, and there's a look at it. He gets it. It was easy by his standards. And the Hawks have now kicked 3 in a row in the second.
And it just goes to show how much forward line play has improved in the last 5 or 6 years. It's not just about leads, marks, handballs. It's about recovering from the second efforts. You see this Roughhead, Martin Contesseri gets up and then he's straight back into the play to affect that tackle, which is here. That's keeping yourself in the play, second efforts, and bang, you can't get out of that tackle.
Well, it's just a totally different level of pressure that we're seeing from the Hawks right now than we're seeing from the opposition. And that one there created a goal for Jared Roughhead.
Watch this centre bounce, boys. Where's it going to go backwards again to Mitchell or Sewell?
Well, the Dean Bailey predicted what's happening, and once again, it's exactly the same play, straight to Mitchell.
You are a master, James Hird. Here's Franklin. Kicked 7 of the last 8 goals here, the Hawks. Green under pressure, just squirted it forward. Mitchell, in the end, did well to get rid of it. McDonald, and now Green. Centering ball, Miller in a one-out contest there with Dowler. And ball to the boundary.
And obviously Dean Bailey's spoken about that centre bounce situation all week. I mean, you have to think that the Melbourne players have practiced it. That's what kills you as a coach. You plan, you plan, you plan. Your players don't act on the plan.
Campbell. Jones picks it up from 50. Hooks the ball on the head of Robbo. Almost had it covered on the chest and fights now. Campbell Brown opens it up. The exciting Rioli is going to get a clear path to the ball. Thanks to the opportunity there of his Hawthorn teammate in Moss. Now Moss as a result. Kick back inboard. Oh, Mark Williams was impressive. Look at the 15 pirouette there. Rioli comes in, kicks the goal into the post.
Give him a goal anyway, BT.
Give it to him.
Just give him the goal.
Great passage of play from Hawthorn, full stop.
What's this blind turn?
Came here thinking that the Demons were going to be competitive, but we are seeing a clinic right now, and we've got some of the most exciting clinicians in the game on display.
Clinicians?
That'll do.
Oh, boy. Cyril, you are a piece of work. And the Demons need to just hold onto the ball for a little while and get a feel of it. To the contest, Birchall. Sylvia didn't have it with the Lewis tackle.
Leave it, Mossy! Rock, just give it. You got the free, straight to him.
You could guess that Brock McLean would be thereabouts when a bit of niggles going on. Bruce.
Push out!
And Sylvia. Shipping ball is good, Maloney.
Interesting battle between Davey and Stokes at the present time.
Robinson had lead, but he doubled back. Now he's got the sit on Brown.
Oh.
He played on. He played on and it was smothered on the line. Silly. Bit smarty pants style of thing. Davies got it, little inside-out ball. Here comes Miller. Couldn't mark.
Why would you do that, Jared? You've taken a mark in the goal square. You'd be put on the goal line, and you kick it on your back over your head.
Talk about the unpredictable. We are getting plenty of it here, and it's lovely. We like it.
You've got to commend the mark. It was an amazing mark. You know, Campbell Brown's had the better of him. Why would you do that?
Don't know, but the runner is going out to...
Has a player
Russell
ever
Robertson.
played on when lying on his back?
On the goal line.
Yes.
The other end of the ground, they're about to cost 2 goals.
Rough head. Stokes missed it. Ruff went and got it off the side of the boot, and some demons back here covering this one. Frawley with support of Whelan was good.
Now the runner just went out to Russell Robertson. Hurdy, if you were the coach, what would the message have been?
I don't think you can repeat it in as many words as you. I mean, you've got to commend him because Campbell Brown's had the better of him so far in the game, and he's able to actually get on top of Campbell Brown there. But just take your time, Robbo. You're an experienced player, and
Looks
go
like-
back and kick the goal.
Looks like the runner's going to stay with him and advise him on each possession that comes his way.
He's just trying to ignore him, BT. I've just been watching him for the last couple of minutes.
Very nice. Here's an opportunity running over the top of the ball. Sewell, look at that.
handball.
The no-look handball. Talk about instinctive, knowing where your teammates are. Jones trying to crash through. Sewell impressive with the tackle. White Cross tidies up. Here go the Hawks.
We've got 2 players free in the forward line, the Hawks.
Campbell, the big fella.
If that kick by Campbell had been a good kick, Hawthorn had a spare man in their own forward line.
Well, one of them is spare because Carl Morton is zoning off there. Let's just have a look at this extraordinary mark,
It was Kappa-like.
followed by...
Terrific play by Moss there to be so reactionary.
Was he
and
over
to
the
see it.
line, Moss?
I don't think so, Jared.
No, it was a great play by Moss to be on the ball there.
Yeah.
And not so great by Robert.
It's a strange thing.
And boys, Robbo's just come to the bench, straight onto the phone, kicked the water bottle and everything. So it's all happening down here.
Was he on his back when he kicked the water bottle?
No.
There's Miller. Drop the cinch.
See, that stuff's contagious.
And that gives Campbell Brown to sniff, and that's all he needs. Look at him bullocking in there, Brown. Gives his head one in the dirt to go on with. And the Melbourne hierarchy are wondering what's next. Maloney through traffic was very impressive. Now Green, high ball. Here comes the big fella Johnson. I don't think that's going to work down there for too long. And now Hawthorn in control in the back half. The kick meant for McGlynn.
Good running Osborne here.
It is great. He marks, bounce, 50, 45, closing ball, over the top Williams. He's thinking about playing on. He's run off the mark, so the umpire said it is a play on. And what the hell is going on in this game? What are these forwards thinking? What is going on?
Something in the air, BT. You need to go down at quarter time, half-time, and address the forward line players. Kick the goals, no matter where you are.
Just great to see Jamie Bennell on. Keep your eye on him, Hurdy. He's a ripper in the making.
Just the smarty pants attitude at the moment being adopted by both forward mobs in this group. Oh boy, professional stuff's been thrown out the window. Here is Mitchell. Across the ground with a lovely weighted kick. Finds Morton. Now Lewis. Precision. Buddy. Pushed out.
Frawley.
There's a win for Frawley.
Frawley's been very good since quarter time. Buddy had a number of opportunities to have it take the mark or get the ball and have a shot at goal.
There's
Frawley's
Marrick.
been good.
He's a good runner and a good kicker from 70 out of centering ball. Johnson, you've got to get hold of this, and he does. A beautifully weighted kick from Marrick.
Well, Campbell just lost sight of the footy. He was watching it for a period of time, and I think he could have almost just gone the footy. Hurdy, have a look at this coming in. Marrick, as once again, doing the job.
I know
I
Johnson's
think it was
lining
Murphy.
up.
Jared.
Murphy, I should say.
Yeah, Murphy took his eye off the ball. You just got to keep your eye on the ball in those situations and read it better than your opposition.
There is Johnson. Shouldn't be too much doubt about this one, and he nails it shut. So Melbourne kicked their third goal, their first of this second quarter.
And finally, someone had a shot, BT.
Yes.
Someone who was within 30, directly in front, had a shot. Some ridiculous play in the last 5 minutes, but Melbourne, good movement of the ball. McDonald here in the chain, handballs over, and this is a good kick. It goes in, it goes long to a taller player. Murphy outsized, and that's a nice mark to Johnson, a nice goal.
We've seen a bit of Adam Marrick, BT, and he's showing a little bit of composure where some of his more experienced teammates are lacking.
He's out of the Calder Cannons, Jared, and a lot of people probably wouldn't know that he's a three-time All-Australian junior. He was regarded in Victoria as one of the best junior footballers to ever have played. And
see why.
I think we've forgotten about that, and we think he's just a bits and pieces player, but he was a star when drafted by the Demons.
They've done it again, the Hawks.
An opportunity out the back door again, as the boys have been on to in all of this game. Been very sharp, the boys in the special comments chairs today. Pre-game, during game, you name it. Nice mark, Birchall. Mitchell. There's a good look at what confronts a decision maker in modern footy. Great pitches we're getting there. And Buddy.
Classic footy, Hawks tack their way through the middle of the ground with handball, and then on his left foot, the spearing kick from Lewis just went straight into the open space where Buddy Franklin knew it was going, and they knew Franklin was going to be there. Mitchell, Bateman, Lewis.
Well, Frawley, it doesn't look like there, but trying to play in front, which is fair enough, and just got caught out by Buddy's lead.
Franklin for 4 and 31 on the year. From 45. He's kicked beautifully today. And that one's just a little bit offline.
Yeah, Frawley a bit worried about Buddy's pace, trying to play in front and cut the space down, but Buddy did a couple of zigzag leads early and got the space and got in front of him, and after that it was just put your glasses down for that lead from Buddy.
Another head from Bungaree there in James Frawley. Unusual place, Bungaree. I don't know whether you've ever been there. Just 3 houses, couple of families there, and
lots of Frawleys.
And McGuans. A very small community.
They're good at footy, though.
Not bad at footy, that's right.
They're very good sports people. Both men and women. The girls pretty good too. Here's Bate. Into the middle, nice ball.
Nice
Stretch of the hands by McLean. Little ball over the top. Here is this man, Marrick. And he'll line up from just beyond 50.
Like that move of Brock McLean's. Just clean hands coming out of the forward line.
There's a brother, Nick, playing at Assumption College, who's equally as talented. So he would tell us anyway. Marrick from directly in front, punt road end. Bit of journey about it. 52, kick on the way. Just offline to the right.
Jeez, you can give it a nice old roost, though.
Thanks, Stefan.
Whelan. Looking exhausted.
Thanks, Russell, right there.
Crowd into the G on a twilight footy game. Franklin almost swallowed it. Time to get rid of McLean. Look at the big boy wind up. He says, come on, chase me.
Oh, look at this.
There we go.
Here goes Stokes. It'll be a raffle in the middle. A great opportunity here now for Jordan Lewis on the left boot. Balances up and missed poorly.
Watch the ball drop on this kick, Jared, if we can get another look. The ball drop just seemed the ball actually moves so far forward and comes off the wrong part of his foot. No wonder it didn't go straight.
We'll see that when we get a chance, James. And this football's a continuous game, and James not only wanting to be the special comments man, but the director as well. There's McLean, nice mark, runs, balances. Beautiful opportunity made there by Brock McLean.
Transfer of play there out of the point. That's what the rule that's been in play for 3 years does. If you kick a point, you can rebound it out. It's almost like a free possession. Melbourne's ball movement there was beautifully. They moved the ball beautifully. I don't think the Hawks actually touched it, Jared.
No, they didn't. I'd like to see Bate up the ground a bit more. I think he's got a big enough engine to become a midfielder. More midfield options are better. And this has been a move, I think, that's just starting to look like it could show some dividends, and that's McLean into the forward. Here's the roll of the ball that you talked about, Hurdy.
Must have been seeing things.
Yeah, you were delusional there. Or hallucinating.
Glad we didn't stop for that replay.
No,
we would have missed the goal, and you're wrong.
That's the last direction I'm going to give.
6:43 remaining in the first half of football. Over the back here, Taylor again.
My hands.
Out of the middle, Morton of Hawthorn, Sewell, and now Taylor. McGlynn momentarily eye off the prune. Marrick. Beautiful create situation to Jones. Jones with a low ball. That wasn't fantastic. And now an opportunity for Dowler. Sewell sinking his way through. Little chipping ball out was nice. And now Bateman got wide cross line. Wide, he ignores that.
Every time this kick across the other side of the ground is killing Melbourne.
Lewis to Roughhead. And Roughhead marks directly in front, will line up for his third goal.
Yeah, well, that one had the Hawthorn supporters absolutely clapping. They like this fellow. He's on the end of it, and he's attempting to kick another bag to go head-to-head with Buddy. But centre clearances, Hurdy, in the first quarter was 6-2 in favour of Melbourne. They've turned it right around, Hawthorn, and it's now 4-2.
For his third goal and a 35-point lead from on 50 off 2 steps. Impressive. Big rough.
And they're just so hard to stop Roughhead and Franklin when they've got space in front of them. The Hawks' delivery here and the movement of the ball was terrific. Once Roughhead gets some space, Lewis moving in there, I mean, it's just too easy. You have to have people come back, drop back, midfielders drop back and get in and stop Roughhead's lead up the ground.
You almost know that whenever a midfielder for Hawthorn get the ball out on this centre wing, they are going to try and look to the other side, go diagonally across the ground, keep it in, and at least one of Rough or Buddy Franklin will be there.
It just changes the angle into the forward line. Sorry, BT.
What happened there, Rowan Smith? Roughhead kicked the goal, come to the bench, and now he's walking back out.
BT, I think he wanted to come for a rest, and they said, no, get back out there. So he jogged 100 metres, and then he had to jog 100 metres back. Yep,
that's 200 metres he would have liked in the tank for further opportunity. There is an opportunity for the Hawks again as they go forward, and now Stokes involved here. Gives it to Mitchell. Mitchell went for a little bit too much low stuff. Here's Cyril working his way through traffic. Jones bullocks in, puts a head over the prune. Rivers trying to fight his way out with Rioli. And here's Roughhead when he went off the bench, said, yes, you're on, and then he got told to go back on. He said, you're kidding. I just ran 120, and now you want me to go back out there. Hands on hips, and Osborne takes a one-hander.
Not fit enough, maybe, BT. Roughhead just getting to run a bit of extra distance, a bit more game time.
It's a sneaky way to get more work into it.
That's right. Too much space there for Hawthorn. Brad Sewell terrific inside, getting the ball out, and Bateman pinpoint accuracy.
For a game-high margin of 41 points, here is Osborne, directly in front, kick to the right. Barely a behind.
Look, the margin of 35 points, one of the areas that Melbourne need to clean up is that set of bounce, Jared. Hawthorn have gone there the last 5 times to the back of that circle. And Melbourne spoke about it before the game. They're still not doing anything about it. That's poor play when you know something's happening and you're doing nothing about it.
Green to Morton. What's Morton had today, Jared, for the Demons? I don't think he's had a lot of it. 8 possessions he's had in this game, Carl Morton.
Exposed early, BT.
Yep.
He was exposed. His man was getting off him, and Osborne's a very dangerous player. But he's a kid that's learning that role, and he's been doing it pretty well for the last few matches.
There's Bennell's first involvement in the game, I think it was. There's Morton stripped by Sewell, the man we speak of, and now Jones under pressure from Rioli. And that's a Rioli free. Let's watch what happens here.
Melbourne doing well to block up the space that Rioli's got to kick it into, not allowing Franklin or Roughhead any space to lead.
Gives it to Guerra. Not sure about that. It's more a Leon Davis tactic, although Guerra a good kick. Off the post.
And that came about, BT, because there just was no one to kick it. There was no lead being offered because Melbourne have finally got their defenders back and flooded back in that area. And they need to do more of that when the ball's a stationary ball coming into the forward line.
Push out! Wow.
3.5 minutes remain in the first half of footy. There's Pettard and McDonald. McDonald through traffic, felt the heat around him, got it off to Marrick. Marrick really wastes the touch to Whelan in the middle, who is precision-like with his delivery of the ball this time. Sylvia, great to Bate. Through the hands. Couldn't hold it. Guerra's sitting on it. Bate was able to claw it back, but lots of Hawks getting back, and one of those is Murphy. And Lewis.
And Melbourne should be lining up for goal now, BT. That kick to Bate wasn't that hard a kick and should have hit him on the chest. And you've got to make the most of your opportunities against the Hawthorn backline, because they'll rebound it out and set up a scoring opportunity for themselves.
It's not like they're getting a lot. There's Whitecross. Centering ball. Oh, Mark Williams, you made a poor kick look really good in the end by your efforts. Ball in the hands here of Morton of Hawthorn. Driving ball. Bit rough got out of the way. He thought, I think Buddy was coming over the top, and he retrieves the ground level front and centre ball. Buddy pushed his man under the ball, and Frawley, there were hands in the back there, I'm sure of it. He runs around, plays on. Franklin's kicked the goal. He's got 4, but I thought he might have had a piece of hands in the back.
What he did though, BT, is put his hands in the back so early that the umpire wouldn't have been looking. He put it in a couple of seconds before. Great kick by Roughhead. This kick by Roughhead to the centre of the squares. He doubles back out of the contest, beats the Melbourne player to the ball, then puts to the top of the square. Now Buddy's pushing in the back about now, and then comes back on the ball. Smart play by Buddy Franklin.
Just have a look at this though. Ruffy is just like a Sherman tank. Went past Carl Morton. There's your hands in the back that you called pretty early in the piece, BT. And I'm sure we're going to hear more of that from you through the afternoon or the evening.
I'm probably going to leave it alone, Jared. Done enough damage in that area and not getting through to head office at the moment, so we'll let them sort it out. 2:12 remaining. Buddy's got 4, Ruff's got 3. They've kicked 5 goals to 2 in this quarter, the Hawks. Lewis, Davian Birchall, McGlynn, the little sneaky McGlynn. Beau Mustin, impressive debut for him. Whitecross, Lewis all combining. They're just queuing up and marching the ball forward as they wish, and Stokes with strong out in the front hands. We like those. I often refer to them as Dukes. A high ball. Campbell got a claw up, couldn't take the mark. Melbourne have got some numbers around this. They tidy up. Out of defence. Oh boy, Bennell took him on. Got rid of it just in the nick of time. Johnson's kick is good to McLean. McLean back into the corridor. Robinson's got to beat 3. Beautiful opportunity there for Whitecross to work back with the flight of the ball. It was courageous and all of those things. And as a result, Hawthorn now have an easy ball with Moss on their half-forward line.
Russell Robinson led to the fat side. So predictably, Hawthorn have just reading Melbourne's play like a book at the moment. There was 3 Hawthorn players, defenders there, just sweating on Russell Robinson, and Whitecross was courageous to stop it.
There comes Roughhead over the top. Got a piece of it, couldn't quite claw it in. Now Jones. Sylvia. Kick forward, not great. And Mustin gets back to take the mark.
Yeah, a bit too predictable, Melbourne, with their long kicking. They're just not setting up. But Jordan Lewis, possession 21 at the 27-minute mark of the second quarter, Jared.
He is on fire.
Roughhead.
Here's possession 22.
He's just smoking at the moment.
Moss, knock out the back.
Might just give him a second half off.
But he wasn't ready. Sylvia. Morton of Melbourne. And Melbourne would be happy to find the boundary in the end.
Hasn't footy changed though? 22 possessions in a half of footy is an incredible result, but it doesn't get the acclaim that it used to get.
Well, it doesn't, but no matter what, you have a look at rankings points where you have all the other elements of the game, and Jordan Lewis is right up there as the best on the ground, or one of the best 2 or 3 on the ground.
He's at 10 inside 50s already.
He's just a damaging player right now. He's right at the top of his game.
So just a couple of seconds left in this first half of football. McLean has kicked the ball out of bounds on a full, and I think that will just about be it. We've got 2 seconds on the clock remaining in this first half, and the Hawks lead it by 43 points.
It's probably the biggest issue for Melbourne going forward into the next few years, and that's to get their midfielders at the moment that all work really hard. They've got to get their skill level up, and they've got to recruit some high-quality, skilled kids with plenty of pace to complement them.
Definitely, Jared.
We're going to take a breather here, and then on the other side of the break, Jared and James will take a look at this one. It's 11-7-73, the Hawks to the Demons, 4-6-30. A Hawthorn lead at halftime of 43 points.
Cameron Bruce is starting across that half-back line, picking up Osborne. He'll take him right up the ground.
Hawks going towards the left of screen opportunity here. And Mitchell, the first kick of the second half, goes forward in the Williams direction.
Rivers stays on Franklin.
A difficult one to block then. And now an opportunity here for Frawley. Doesn't look unlike Rivers. Lewis. Rioli. Two evasive moves that were both impressive to Lewis, who momentarily took his eye off the ball. Good tackle on Pettard. Gee, they let it go sometimes, and sometimes they don't.
Got to get a bit better than that. Colin Sylvia's been one of Melbourne's best players tonight, but a number of times he's gone with a long option, and an option that hasn't advantaged his club.
Guerra. Squaring ball. Sideways to Birchall, who a buddy ball out in front, kept alive by Franklin, was really good, and now Bateman.
Looks like a different lockdown job for him.
Corralled by McDonald. Back to Birchall, back to Bateman, and now in the middle to Taylor.
Back. Advantage.
Advantage Page. You heard the umpire. Guerra's got all of the centre square to get this one forward. Goes with a handball. Probably should have been a kick. Back to Guerra.
Yeah.
It was good. The kick finish wasn't great, although accurate.
Hawthorn had 3 free players in the middle of the ground. They talk about locking down at the start of the game, but 3 free players and just able to get into their forward line far too easy, Jerry.
Just have a look at Stephen Martin. We know he's a young bloke.
Here, Guerra, there's another 2 players around him free.
I understand that, but here's Stephen Martin. He's right up inside his jumper, and Stephen unfortunately hasn't worked out that he's heading towards goal. The first handball was just the give, and he forgot about the go. He just dropped off on the chase, and Guerra just continued through without a man, and the first goal is on the board for the Hawks in the second half.
That's exactly what Melbourne didn't want. They would have wanted the first goal to get back and be competitive. That just keeps the game, the flow of the game, going the same way it's been going in the first half.
Back in the middle. Calm down was beautiful to Mitchell. To Williams was just perfect football.
And the centre bounce again, Jared, over the back to Sam Mitchell, and away they go.
Surely you've got to get on the back of Sam Mitchell.
Yeah.
He's a great exponent of this set shot is this man here, Mark Williams.
That was Brent Maloney on Sam Mitchell. They have just got to set themselves to stop him getting the footy.
Williams for his first goal from right on 50. It's a beautiful, casual, professional, methodical, accurate approach.
Well, Melbourne haven't come out to start the second half the way they needed to. They've come out in a very casual approach themselves. If you go back to that centre bounce, you look at where the ball goes to Sam Mitchell, it's obvious where the space is and where the ball's going. And it's a beautiful kick by Mitchell down the throat of Williams. When you're playing in the midfield in the centre square, you've got to be able to read, once the ball's in the air, where it's going. I know you've got to lock down on a player, but you've got to say, where's the space, where's it dangerous, and cover that area. The Melbourne midfielders are just being totally dictated to and not covering the dangerous space when the ball's in the air after a centre bounce.
I'm not sure what the instructions are, but it looks to me like the instruction is get between the ball and your man. It's the wrong instruction. They have got to get on the defensive
all the space
side.
here is behind the umpire.
Well, the biggest win this year, Hawthorn, was in round 3 against North by 54 points. They're already in front of the Demons by 55, and we're early in the third. Sylvia's got a free here. Might almost be within range, Colin Sylvia. Gets a bit of momentum in the run-up.
Bang.
Kick on the way, it's there. It's a good ball.
Good kick. Good goal, and one they sorely needed, Jared. They needed to stem the flow and get some momentum going back that way.
Well, it's a great kick, and it...
Definitely a free kick, holding on.
Yep. He's had a pretty good game, has Colin Sylvia. Just getting back to the centre clearance. I reckon coaches sometimes want their duck and their dinner.
Yep.
I reckon when you're this far behind, you've just got to simplify it. Ultra defence, ultra defence. Let's just lock it down, cause a secondary bounce so we can get another 15 guys in around the footy. Right now, it looks like Melbourne are trying to be man-on-man but win the footy at the same time.
But if you go man-on-man in the centre square, it's too easy to dictate to. If you're man-on-man, that's when you can dictate to. You've got to guard a space, and when the ball comes in that space in the centre square, make sure you get it.
Taylor.
That's the way. Beautiful play by Jones. Read the play and won the ball.
Davey. Superb ground skills. Miller won't get it. Got a bad bounce in the end.
I always found everyone was playing that when people went man on man in the centre square, you could dictate, you could move wherever you wanted to go, because you can't congest the centre square because of that space, because there's only 6 players in there. It's too easy to manipulate when they do go man on man.
I reckon though, when you're playing on a guy Sam Mitchell, you have to have 100% ultra defence on him.
Yeah.
Bate with a smothering tackle.
I know you don't agree with that, but I'm afraid I disagree with you.
Robinson, I love it up here when two greats disagree. It's good for me. Sylvia goes on the attack and misses to the left-hand side. And
if you've got a dominant ruckman, it's a different story. But right now, Johnson isn't dominating. And Melbourne probably look at their stats in the first quarter and say, why don't we continue to do this? But as soon as Taylor stopped giving free kicks away, the whole scenario changed.
The second quarter, they got killed out of the middle of the ground, Melbourne.
The tension up here is
Move on, Booter.
rising.
We'll wait for the next centre bounce.
Guys at the footy.
Umpire's effort being heard in the effects mic. Here's Lewis. Plenty of players just sagging off the back of the contest, ready for the get-out handball backwards. And it's a great example of it. There's McGlynn.
High on, you.
The diminutive McGlynn.
Well
goes
played,
forward.
Miller.
Ooh, that was lucky. I thought Lewis might have been the infringer in the push there. But it was Osborne that got into him in the end. Here's Franklin looking for the give and go, but unfortunately for him, Mitchell wasn't quite as clean as he wanted to be. Still got it though.
He's starting to put on a bit of a clinic, isn't he?
Oh, look at that. Good tackle in the end.
Great tackle.
It was. Here's Morton, took his eye off the ball. Brown had coming at him. Guerra didn't. He went straight through. Now Green tidies up. McLean. Campbell with a smothering effort behind. Put him off in the kick. Here's Martin. Robertson. Bates down there. Can he control it back into play? He can't.
He did a good job though, Matthew Bates, just knocking the ball out instead of letting it go through for a point. Here's the tackle. That is a classic rugby league tackle. He came in low, got his legs, lifted him off the ground, and perfect stuff.
Robinson barreled in a double tackle.
This is Hawthorn's hallmark, Jared, when they're able to just close down. When the ball's in their defence, they'll close it down, then work it out when they get their hands on the ball.
We've got a loose man behind.
Campbell. Sylvia around on the left. He's kicked it. 2 in a row for Sylvia and the Demons.
And you're right, Jared. Sylvia's been very good. 24 possessions, 2 goals. And giving them some spark in this third quarter. And for goals from a stoppage of the forward line, they're hard to get. They're crucial goals. And given too much space here, though, Sylvia. Not an arm across, just able to work his way through the melee of players. And I think too much space there.
His opponent was ball watching, and he paid the price.
All right, Jared. What's going to happen here?
Well, I'm just a Cameron Ling fan. If you've got a bloke as good as Sam Mitchell, I'd apply the Cameron Ling therapy to him, and that is right up behind his jumper, look into his jumper and have your arms either side of him. But Maloney's trying to do both.
43-point margin now.
And you win some,
yeah,
but unfortunately you lose too many.
There's Davey. Crosses the McGlynn tackle. Morton in the middle was a little hasty to get rid of it. Johnson now. Over the top to Kyle Morton. From inside the centre square, needs to deliver it well. Robertson couldn't quite get hold of it. Pettard out there to Miller. Unsure. Back here to Pettard. Comes to Nate Jones. Around the corner with a high hoiking ball. Sylvia gets back, couldn't hold the mark. Birchall went low but without the ball. Sylvia around the corner for his third in a row. He's got it. Demons have got 3 in a row and he's got 3 in a row.
On fire, Colin Sylvia, and he's snapping goals every which way. I don't think they're quite back in it, Jared, but they're
Certainly giving
life back into the game.
Giving a bit of hope for a competitive match. Now, Jones was given that flat-footed, so he was left with one option, and that was to long bomb.
Great second effort, though, by Sylvia to get back in the play after contesting the mark, fight for the ball.
Did hit the post, just cleared it. Matthew Bate also, I think, is one that's just upped the work rate since about midway through that second term.
Colin Sylvia having a great day, 25 disposals, a 3-goal, 1 game. And he's in fine touch at the moment.
Kale Morton into the middle.
37-point margin, beautiful tap down in the middle. McLean couldn't quite get hold of it in the end and worried out of it by Rioli. Look at the pickup. Gets it inside 50, the delivery to Williams. Couldn't quite make it. Williams now. Try some fancy footwork on Frawley. Wanted nothing of it.
Should he have gone for goal?
Definitely should have gone for goal, Jared. He was inside 40.
Lewis to Franklin.
Might get one anyway. Great kick by Lewis. Spun around, saw Franklin, who's going to play on.
He plays on the left boot for his 5th goal. Rioli at the top of the square wanted it, but I don't think so. Go for home. Have a look at this for a pickup.
Terrific pickup by Rioli. Just super skills and had it controlled. Really, and should have just gone for goals, Jerry. He had another 5 metres to run.
I'm with you. He just saw him in his first NAB Cup game, and I don't reckon we've seen the absolute speed of Cyril Rioli too many times, but that was one time where he could have just put the afterburners on and just blown them away and gone for goal.
There's Kyle Morton. Loved coming to watch him play. Loved his uncle in Morris as well, who was just as creative. Franklin in the middle. On his non-preferred right side to Lewis.
Well, those sort of turnovers just kill you.
They do.
Lewis to Sewell, who lets it go and finds McGlynn. Support running in Mitchell. He's looking for someone out wide. Here's Cyril. 45 out. Good-looking ball. Hones the radar in.
And it's funny, isn't it? The kick before he had, when he was 40 metres out straight in front, he decides to pass it. He's on the boundary line on his left. He never looked like missing, did he? Took a couple of steadying steps, and that's just a great goal and pure football instinct.
Brilliant handball also from Sam Mitchell. What I love was just watching everybody in the crowd, and I suspect a few Melbourne supporters also would be standing up and just cheering the introduction of this young guy into the game. He is a ripper to watch.
He is. He's exciting, isn't he? What about the way Mitchell sold the handball to the in-close Hawthorn player and then went knowing that he was going to go wide, and the defenders swallowed it.
And off you come for a rest.
Gave Rioli time, and this is a dazzling player that we're seeing perform here today, Cyril Rioli. Stopped the run of 3 goals by Melbourne. Did the Rioli goal and back to a 44-point margin.
Okay. Thanks, Campbell. Straight back.
Well, Melbourne have got a couple of players just dropping off this contest. They'll look to go back themselves.
And hold of him. Right there, thanks, Paul.
Gee, big Jono, scary face. There's Taylor. Nice kick from the big man. Found Bateman. The run is impressive of this man, Muston. Bo Muston with his first goal in league footy. No.
Hawthorn just breaking out of the contest there a lot quicker than Melbourne and able to get Bateman and Muston free. Melbourne not doing a good job out of those contests mounting up.
Green in the back half for Melbourne. And all of a sudden a bit stagnant, the Demons. Green goes down the line. Rivers sets himself. Bate got a push in the back from McGlynn. Well disguised in the end. McLean to Davey. Look at the pickup. It was great. The awareness to get rid of the handball was really good as well. Marrick, likewise. That kick into the middle, although a little clumsy, was meant for Maloney. Osborne's handball back to Taylor. Guerra now Mitchell. Through traffic on his right.
Well, Red won it.
It was in the end. The punch away was good, and now Green.
Terrific pressure from Hawthorn. Roughhead giving away a free kick there, but the pressure to move up on the player and make him give and not being able to get the balls runs past creates the indecision in the Melbourne back line.
Marrick with the free in the last line of defence. Goes wide to Sylvia, who's kicked 3 goals in this 3rd quarter.
Cameron Bruce away if he can win this ball.
Used his body well, Bruce. The kick to Miller, who's got strong hands.
Playing in his best position right now, Cameron Bruce, I reckon, as the run-off halfback.
Short ball to Pettard. Robinson was quite annoyed about that.
But he's leading backwards, BT. He's got to present and come up at the ball.
Here he does that. Just on cue, James Hird.
That's what he hasn't done all game. He's been leading back towards the goal square, which is very easy for Campbell Brown, the Hawthorn players, to get back and double team him. Leading up at the ball, that has to be his go from now on.
Been calling this man Robinson. It's Robertson, and the Fox Sports cameraman pointing that out to me. Not too often that a cameraman would point out to me my mistake. Robinson comes in and misses the goal. And he's a big cameraman.
He's a very big cameraman.
So I'm going to take his advice on board and go with it just at this stage. The miss by Robertson was not good, and now Mitchell. If you want to know which cameraman it is, it's camera 5. You'll see it. He gets it out of focus quite often. There's Dowler.
Might get his view on the centre square in a minute.
Yes.
See if he can sort it out.
Franklin clobbered by his own man and Bateman apologises and says, please get up, buddy. You're the star player. We need you. In the meantime, Sylvia goes ahead with the ball. Kick is good and finds an opportunity here for Maloney to go wide. And the lead by Pettard is marked.
It was a good lead by Pettard. Provided an option to lead to and got hit on the chest by the lead.
I think Bateman thought he'd done damage to the star player of the competition there and was apologetic.
He's just knocked over about $10 million there.
Yes. And probably sent another 20,000 out of the gate.
That's right. That said, he's going pretty well himself at the moment, Chance Bateman.
Pettard comes in from a testing range at 50. He looks to have the journey covered, but to the near side. And he misses.
Johnny, both you. Both you. Out time, thanks.
Guerra taking some time to get back and kick it. The designator hitter from that kick in.
Melbourne are actually able to slow Hawthorn down here. The slow play, so they have to kick over the man of the mark and go back and take their kick, which is stopping Hawthorn's run the last couple of times they've taken it out of defence, but they're away here, working it through the zone.
Bateman, degree of difficulty around the corner there was high. Jones went in and arrived before Mitchell, who was coming low and hard.
Well, they've dropped the hard tag off Sam Mitchell. I think it's Brent Maloney at the present time, and they're going head-to-head, but Mitchell is dominating this match at the moment, in this term in particular.
Just when you're talking to the umpire and Maloney comes through and hip and shoulders you like that, you don't quite expect that when you're in conversation, but that's what can happen in our game. Bate got hold of it. Guerra with the tackle. Whelan.
Mitchell
out to Lewis. For the Hawks, they want to keep it in the corridor by the looks. The handball very creative from Mitchell. Now McGlynn goes wide to Moss. Hawthorn to an opportunity here in Williams, who bounces off the perimeter piping.
Demons got heaps of players spare, which means that the Hawks will probably go back through the centre, which they've got plenty of blokes spare.
Taylor to Guerra for his second goal of the quarter. Guerra from 50, no doubt about that. He was saluting before it even went through.
It's all very well, Jared, to push players back into the back 50 and block the area 40 metres outside of goal. But you've got to defend a bit higher than that. You've got to defend up around the square, because if you don't, you watch this ball come into the centre square. No one there on Taylor, and then Guerra able to run to 50. They're too good at kicking that ball, and all the Melbourne players back inside 40.
Well, those blokes in the forward line for Melbourne, they are the ones at fault there.
Yep.
If you're going to have the extra blokes in the flooded area or the defensive area, somebody has to push up from behind, and that's something that the great sides do in the competition at the present time. And the ones on the bottom of the ladder, like Melbourne, they've got forwards playing as forwards, not as total defenders as well.
Totally agree with you, Jared. The forwards for Melbourne have to be able to put defensive pressure through the middle of the ground.
Kicked the last two, the Hawks, after Melbourne kicked 3 prior to that. It's a 4-3 quarter for the Hawks. Osborne and Mitchell doing the damage. Mitchell rolls one in the Buddy direction.
Nice use of the body there from Rivers.
Tried it up. Rioli around the corner. Nice shepherd by Campbell on the line.
Well, I reckon you're glad when you come to the footy sometimes, or you're glad when you come to footy most times, but you're glad when you come to watch Hawthorn, because you've got just such exciting players. You've got Buddy Franklin, you've got Mitchell, but when you watch this guy play in Rioli, he's one of the most exciting players in the competition. What he can do with the ball is just incredible.
Here he comes out of the centre. He's running, he's running. Now he's a midfielder. He's got a tag on him. And yet no one is going with him. He is just charging forward. And they are getting belted right now at these stoppages.
Well, Cyril enjoying his work, and why not? It has been pure fantasy land stuff here today for us watching. And Matty Bate looking a little ruffled.
BT, he's just come to the bench at the moment, just complaining of a kick to the left shin. So the physios have been speaking to him. Looks okay as he just run past me then.
Jack Grimes' 4th game of his career, a big job on Cyril Rioli, who's come off the wing, and might get another one here, Jared.
Osborne. Hard at the ball.
Great tackle.
Was Morton.
Just having a look at Grimes, the way he's operating with Cyril, he's playing him the respect of 4 or 5 metres.
Yeah.
And Cyril, you can't give him 2 metres or 1 metre. You've got to be right beside him and probably bumping into him, knocking him off his line.
Well, he is one player you have to play goal side off because he's just so fast. You can't let him come past you towards the goals.
Marrick. Nice ball. Headard, good mark.
Close to 50, that one, Brian?
In the marking contest, but not far away, Jared.
Just that you haven't cooked an umpire for a while. I thought there was an opportunity
No,
miss
I
there.
don't often cook. In fact, this weekend's round of football has been outstandingly umpired. There is Marrick. They've let the players go and do their job. Marrick's kick across the goal. Lewis banging in, and now Jones.
Good play by McDonald.
There's Morton. Waiting for help to arrive in the left foot of Johnson, around the corner for a big man. And over the top. Mark is taken in the end by Robertson.
Coming up at the ball, BT. See going backwards towards the goals.
Again, here's the angle for Robbo.
That's all you needed. That's your angle. He's right on it.
He has kicked just the one, which came 12 minutes into the first quarter.
Yeah, we look from behind here, Brian. Would you pick out maybe the Hancock tyre sign or something to aim at?
Not me, but some do. Robinson comes in and he drills it straight through for his second goal. That's a very personal thing.
What would you do?
For me, I'd aim between the goals and work out where I'm going to, how far outside the goalpost I'm going to kick it. For me, I don't aim at a particular thing, just line it up against the goalpost. There's McDonald and Jordan Lewis clash. So
Terrific play, because Lewis had the ball in his hands here. McDonald actually created the turnover, which led to the Robertson goal. But Russell Robinson, I think he'll be learning a bit of a lesson for him. I mean, he's played a lot of footy, Russell Robinson, 218 games of football, but learning a lesson that when you're going all right, when you're flying, you can afford to run back and try and lead back into play and get the ball over the top. When you're coming back and you're starting to get some form, just lead up at the ball, because that's the percentage play, and that's where you're going to get most of your goals from, leading at the ball.
it's an easy ball to be won in modern footy, isn't it? The lead-up ball.
Yep.
Because the players are so good with their foot skills.
In fact, the leading up makes the leading back that much more effective.
It does.
Expecting it.
Absolutely. Headard's contest wasn't all that impressive, although this one is. There's Beau Muston. Been extremely impressive in his first game today. They'll be glad that they've got this 22-year-old up and running after 2 knee reconstructions. McGlynn was unable to control it. Bruce, quick 1-2 give, back Sylvia, back Bruce, and now Johnson.
Enjoyed Sylvia's game. I've watched him a fair bit in the last 4 weeks. Heard him over in Western Australia. I don't think he worked as hard up and down the ground as we're seeing him today. He was okay working one way, but I think defensive running today has been another notch up.
There goes Robinson again. This time he tried to stand and wrestle with Brown, who's an expert at that. Murphy in hard and low. Birchall backed out with the ball. Now Murphy. Robinson was really good. Thought about going that way, brought it back through the ball.
But he didn't lead, BT. He had a chance to lead the ball. We're on his case a bit here, but he had a chance to lead. He rather bustled with Campbell Brown, and you're not going to beat Campbell Brown bustling.
Oh, Osborne with perhaps a bit of cramp. We hope no more than that.
Back on to Colin Sylvie, Jared. I totally agree with him. He's taken the game on and decided that the game was slipping out of Melbourne's hands and someone had to stand up and make a stand. and he's been terrific all game, but this quarter has been absolutely fantastic.
It is cram for Osborne off the ball, signalling that he'd like to come off the ground. Here's Morton of Hawthorn finding Brown. There he is.
It's unusual, and I guess it just signifies how hard the players are running, but you would rarely see players get cramp in round 9.
No, I agree with you. I mean, they are running a long way. We'll just let this play go.
There's Franklin. One out with Frawley, and Frawley was able to work him nicely under the ball out infringing.
Osborne does the forward pocket to back pocket running. He is running a poultice of kilometres.
It's interesting, though, Jared, that in today's day and age, that if you get your rotation slightly wrong and you don't come off just at the right time, you can do more running than you would do normally.
You could see the contraction of the muscle in the left calf there from the camera work. Obviously wasn't camera 5. Here's Sylvia. Through traffic. Dale Morton.
You'll never forget about that, will you, BT?
McLean. Opportunity, Muston. Straightens up. Sets his sights on the goal, but he's offline for the second time today.
Well, you can see why the Hawks love Bo Muston.
Yeah.
And that is a great-looking kick. Now, that one wasn't his best, but he's got penetration and he's got length.
Yeah, fantastic kick.
Against Moss.
And it's the thing that stands out between these two sides the most. It's not tactics or work rate or physicality. It may be a bit of body size, maybe a little bit of champion status, but it's the actual just core stats of kicking efficiency.
There comes Martin up the corridor. That's what James Hurd's talking about. Present, 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 and you will be on it.
And Colin Sylvia again, getting free, inside 50s. He's up to possession 30 already, Colin Sylvia, and having some sort of game. But when you've got players with that sort of skill, if you lead up, the space to lead into, it's not too hard as a forward sometimes.
Here is Martin from directly in front. We're right behind this one that's offline to the right all the way.
The skill level is a huge thing in today's football, and it's obvious to see Hawthorn have much better disposal through the middle of the ground, Jared, as you were saying before.
And BT, you're absolutely correct with Osborne, definitely cramping in both calves.
Rowan Smith down there on the boundary line. Here is Rioli. Bennell doing well. Back to that man Bruce, who was caught with the ball. McGlynn.
Well, it was a bit stiff there, Cameron Bruce. He could have released, but he didn't want to just chop it up. And in the end, he was better off giving away the free kick and stopping the play rather than just getting away a dump possession to loose Hawthorn players running forward.
Maloney off the front and centre was going risky that way because Hawthorn are closing Sylvia down, forcing him into a kick that was well made in the end and well marked by Green.
Buddy's attempt at mark there was interesting. He had the chance to actually go for the sit and sit on the guy's shoulders. He propped and stopped it.
It was like the whistle had blown, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't sort of back himself to jump on the shoulders like he would have probably done last year.
It was very interesting. I thought I'd let that go, but since you picked it up, James, I'm inquiring further as to what you think happened.
Yeah, I just think he if you see here, he had the chance and then he propped. Buddy, in his best form, would have actually gone, put his knee in his back and taken mark of the year.
Absolutely. Kick around the corner from Moss. Melbourne have got this one covered through Green. A minute 28 left in the third quarter. A 48-point Hawthorn lead. Bennell. Jones.
Full game effort.
It was just a shrug the tackle to Bruce. Wasn't great. Mitchell infringed.
Slowed the play down, hoping Mitchell, because Melbourne have got some runners forward. Once again, bad decisions, errors through the middle of the ground.
And Birchall's going to reload for the Hawks and go long and wide and find the target there, or did he? And Bateman knocked from his hands. Whelan under extreme pressure. Bennell involved as well. And now Melbourne find a bit of space with the green handball to Johnson.
He won his left foot.
Stops and props, smothered by Campbell. He honed in straight on that left foot, Jared. He knew exactly what he was going to do. Now McLean getting a little rough with their ball handling, the Demons, as they get tired. The fact the last 5 possessions haven't found the target. There's Bate. Plays on. McGlynn's efforts were good. Maloney, casual, strolls inside 50. Needs it to bend right, and it doesn't.
Yeah, both teams starting to tide. I'll be looking forward to three-quarter time players cramping on the Hawthorn team, and just watching Whelan there across half-back for the Demons, spent about 30 seconds on his haunches just waiting to get his breath.
Moss all right there, Rowan Smith, do you think?
Yeah, BT just copped a kick in the calf, in the left calf too, so you can just see him hobbling there along the boundary line, but he looks to be okay.
Three-quarter time at the MCG. Hawthorn impressive. Cyril blistering in that quarter, of which he kicked 2. Guerra got a couple as well. Hawthorn by 47 points, 16-9, 105 to Melbourne, 8-10, 58.
Bo Mustard's been a plus for them today.
He has been absolutely superb.
23 possessions, back in after such a long out.
Yep. His first game of senior football in the home and away season. Kick goes forward. Opportunity Pettard couldn't quite control it. Worried out of it by Dowler, although he was tackled nicely as well. And now the Demons got a chance here early in the last. Green on his wrong right side was able to centre it. And Martin, nice grab.
Terrific mark in amongst 3 or 4 Hawthorn players. Good, strong, contested mark, and the kick in by Brad Green, 30 metres out from goal. That's a dangerous spot and where you want the ball.
Something about this kid, I reckon, that you can just see why the Demons are persisting with him. Not sure if there's a bit of Earl Spalding about him, but he looks like a real competitor.
Well, that's his first goal in league football. Stephen Martin, I'm not sure his teammates know about it because not too many of them have got to him. Perhaps a couple now realising that is his first in senior footy.
Yeah, and you've got to have more morale than that. I think even though they were 8 goals down at the time, you have to show a little bit more excitement when your teammate kicks the goal. But Earl Spalding, Jared.
Well, Earl was a great competitor. Well, he was a fantastic part of Carlton's last premiership, and he was a significant player for Melbourne for many years.
He was a big part of their premiership in 95, doing the hard things, taking those contested marks, but also the defensive pressure in the forward line, which you were speaking about before, that Melbourne aren't doing as well as Hawthorn are.
Now part of the Dockers coaching setup, I think, big Earl Spalding. Good look down the ground, isn't it, to see the way these players position themselves at the ball up in the middle of the ground. Palm down was perfect to Sewell then. Put it into his path, absolutely beautiful, and you can see the bodywork Williams using behind there. That was also impressive. Oh, gee, caught one high.
Yeah, that's the really doubtful one at this stage, where you reckon the player has impacted himself. Almost he charges his head into the leg of an opponent.
Grimes.
He's just gone to ground there, Erdy.
Yeah.
No free kick for mine.
There's Lewis. His head kicked off, Jared. Rioli.
I think he bumped his head into somebody else's leg.
Still would have hurt. Campbell. There's Buddy. Oh, he's giving an ear massage to Bruce. It was a bit of a don't argue.
Yeah, and he got him too high. He definitely got him too high, but he's trying to guard his own space, give him some space where the ball was going to fall. But there's a rule, BT, and you cannot touch another player's head.
Punch away was good. The Demons keep it alive here. A 4-on-1, but they couldn't capitalise. Let's have a look at the Franklin. Fend off to the ear of Bruce and just pulled out any extra wax that may have been in there. There's Sewell. Bateman. Now Guerra under the pump and handled it beautifully to Sewell. Mustard and Sewell combining out there on that southern stand wing. Mitchell. Sam Mitchell, who's been in pretty good touch here today. Birchall, who's got forward and been able to deliver the ball on numerous occasions. Goes wide. This one's coming in the Williams direction. It's a damn good-looking kick here from the Hawks. And they do it beautifully, and I think it may be that man Mustard again, is it?
A terrific kick, BT. That pocket's not an easy pocket to kick to, and as we see Brad Sewell keeping on getting plenty of the ball. And Birchall gives the handball off, and that's a tough kick, because he hasn't really come around onto his right. He's kicked through the line of the ball and didn't get enough swing back, but yeah, beautiful kick for goal, Jared.
First goal in footy as well for Bo Mustard.
And BT, nearly every single Hawthorn player actually went to him after he kicked that goal. So terrific teamwork there by Hawthorn.
Well, his career's been finished 3 times, Smithy, and all of a sudden he sees himself out on the G.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it before the game, Jared. 2 knee reconstructions. It's a magnificent effort to come back today and play so well too.
Well, I know he's mature age now, but guys, have you ever seen a better debut? I mean, 25 disposals for a debut league footballer. Not a bad effort.
Terrific start to his AFL career, and certainly sees why Hawthorn have had the faith in him they have got.
He looks composed and looks like he's got all the necessary pieces of artillery. Bennell goes wide and finds Bate.
And he just may be able to slip into that defence and bolster their stocks.
He may well do, with an opportunity with Gillum still injured at the moment. There's Whitecross. Sylvia involved. Marrick with a short ball that Green felt he was infringed. Picked up by Bate. He's a left footer, remember. Works back on it, ran to the goal and got it. Well done, Matthew Bate.
Yeah, reward for effort there for Bate, but I'm also really impressed with Marrick. BT, I know you've been telling us about him since the start of the season. You've had a bit of an inside go on him, but he just looks like a bloke. I know that kick didn't absolutely hit the target, but he looks like he's a good decision maker and he's prepared to work hard for his efforts.
Yeah, he's just one that no one's talking about.
No.
I think he's gone under the guard of many. He's a very, very accomplished player.
Very accomplished, and good play by Bate to actually back himself and back his speed and put himself in a position where he could kick the goal.
It was Matty Bate, who got on the scoreboard last week as well, kicking 4 goals against the Western Bulldogs. Marrick kicked a couple of goals himself last week, Jared.
He did, and he was pretty impressive over in the West when we saw him a few weeks ago.
Gee, that's impressive centre square work from the Hawks.
That's a push out.
Mitchell, Roughhead, one on the back. Here comes Rioli lurking. Pettard got the handball off Bruce and will receive it back now. So Melbourne composed in the half-back line. Kick needs to be good. Was it out of bounds? No. Umpire said OK. 16 minutes remaining in the game. Pettard. Kick got partially smothered from the man on the mark. There's Bate. Bruce. Green involved. Melbourne looking for another one. Stephen Martin.
He's
got up the glory. It's almost a mark. Had a shot at goal. It didn't matter anyway. He's kicked it.
That is a great shot for goal. It's hard to get it to spin that way, Jared. He's won the contest and then had the snap for goal. But Melbourne is showing a bit today. They're really showing that they've got some skill. They're developing a long way. As you see the ball back into the contest, he could have just taken a mark and gone back and kicked the goal, but it's a nice snapshot from the forward pocket.
Just had a text through from my brother. Earl Spalding never kicked a goal like that.
Quite true. Stephen Martin has all of a sudden, with his first goal in league footy at the start of this last quarter, just opened up the floodgates and got a couple now. Well, we'll probably go easy on the floodgates just for the moment, but he's kicked a couple.
Here we go.
What sort of gates would you call them, BT, if they're not floodgates?
No. A little farm gate, little, maybe even a doggy door at this stage. Here's Sewell out of the middle. Melbourne have kicked 3 goals to 1 in this last quarter, and Roughhead
Great mark.
just puts up the one paw.
Since quarter time, Jared, Hawthorn have been on fire out of the middle, haven't they?
They have. They've dominated through the middle of the ground, not just clearances, but also all stoppages.
And they're going to the same spot every time.
To make it 4 goals apiece for the Twin Towers. Franklin's already got his 4. Roughhead's got his 3. He comes in. He does the same run-up every time. He's missed that one. And Roughhead today has kicked, that's 3 goals, 2. Which one, just looking at the ones that are playing here today, you've got Whitecross, Morton, you know, obviously Rioli and Dowler and also Mustin. Which one has impressed you today, James?
I've been impressed with Bo Mustin's game. I mean, for a first gamer, he looks like, you know, if those knee injuries hadn't have come, he would have been playing footy at least 2 years ago.
I reckon McGlynn's the one that looks like he's taken another level. Missed out on the premiership last year. I think it's driving him. Driving him well at the moment.
He's got an intent hunger about him, hasn't he?
Great play by Buddy there. Buddy was 5 metres behind Brock McLean there and made it up in an instant and put him to ground.
There goes Bateman. Kick isn't fantastic. Didn't give his forward any hope at all. And Green has marked last line of defence.
I don't know if it's the heat or the added heat of today, that a warmer day than normal, but a lot of players are cramping a lot more than normal.
Roughly how many have gone through the bench down there, Rowan Smith, with a cramp?
Well, Mark Williams is actually just stretching his calves as we speak, BT, just in front of me. So looks like he's going to come off as well now. So there's been a few today.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4. Here's Sylvia to Robertson. I'd like to see forwards leading to get the Dukes out in front, but the tidy up around the corner not successful.
Because what it does, BT, even if you don't mark it, you create play for your crummers to come in behind the ball. It's a predictable play for your midfielders who are coming through. And your Melbourne forward line starting to lead up, as we've been calling for all game.
Who the Demons got the next few weeks there, Brian? Because as much as they're being belted by the premiers, I reckon they've been really competitive this last few weeks.
St Kilda, Collingwood, Essendon and Brisbane, the Demons in the next month. St Kilda, Collingwood, Essendon and Brisbane. So it's a tough run. Warnick to Frawley. And the Hawks over the next month have Adelaide in Amy next week. Sydney, Brisbane at Launceston and West Coast at Subi. So 3 out of the next 4 games on the road for Hawthorn.
Tough month.
It is. Here's Maloney. High ball in the head of Russell Robertson. And a nice grab.
And that just proved where the strength was in exposing maybe one of the few weaknesses of Campbell Brown's game, and that is up in the air. You've got to, if you want to engage Campbell Brown to wrestle, you're going to generally lose.
Not sure he's got the journey here, Robbo. Anyway, he's going to have a crack. He really winds it up, gets plenty of leverage on the ball by trying to run around a bit of an arc, and just stretched him. Take his absolute best from that position. 7 minutes remain. A crowd of 39,395 here today. A good twilight crowd to complete round 9. Sylvia.
He's had a magnet today.
Martin. And now the Demons have got an opportunity. Brock McLean. Smothered by the Hawks. Bateman down low. I think it might have been Campbell that got the smother in. Here's James McDonald. A dual best and fairest winner. Sets sights for home at the punt road end. Goes long and straight. 4 goals to Melbourne in this last quarter to 1 Hawthorn goal.
Well, it's been a tough road for the skipper of the Demons, but he was made captain, I think, because of all the great qualities that he's got, and I think we've seen him on display again tonight. He's a genuine worker, and he hasn't let his group down.
A terrific goal. I mean, he's kicked that from 55 metres out. Not an easy kick. Beat one player, gets round, and I think he's worked hard. I think he has been beaten at times in this game, but he's worked pretty hard, and shows the spirit of what the captain needs to do.
There was a 55-point lead at one stage, boys. It's back to 29. They've done a great job, the Demons. They're really tidying things up here, and they're showing that their form over the last month, where they've had 4 really good weeks, including the Geelong loss, where they lost by some 43 points, but the other margins were 17, 8 and 7 to Adelaide, West Coast and Western Bulldogs. They are competitive.
And BT, Matty Whelan's just come off, just copped a knock to the nose, just trying to stop the bleeding as we speak.
Yes, McLean. Cale Morton tidies up and goes wide to Davey, who's been quiet today. Now he steps on the gas. He wants one as well. This one won't go. Touched on the line by a desperate Brown.
It's the Hawthorn ball winners that have just slowed down a little bit, and they've been working hard all game. But Lewis with 31, Mitchell 28, Sewell 27. Those guys all had 20, 22 at half time, and it just slowed down a little bit. And Jared, the McGlynn-Davey battle, who have you put your money on?
I think BT summed it up pretty well. Aaron Davies, their main match winner, and I think he's just taken the edge off Aaron Davies. Had 17 possessions, hasn't kicked a goal. So I think that's been a win for the Hawks.
Yeah, it hasn't been that damaging by foot either. As you say, their playmaker. There's Sewell. You can hear some chat in the background with Russell Robertson, with the umpire.
It's fair to say the life's gone out of this game.
Just a little bit.
There's not a lot of pressure on the guy with the ball at the moment.
I reckon Melbourne have got a lot to gain by kicking another 1 or 2 goals to finish this game off. They're giving them enormous confidence against the reigning premiers. Here's Bo Mustin.
Great chase on here by Aaron Davies.
Step on the gas and you can go all the way.
Oh.
Davey was going to run him down, but I didn't think he ran hard enough at the start, Mustin. Looked like he was labouring a little. The kick by Mitchell is very impressive. Hung in the air a little bit too long, though. Morton. Back to Morton. Jared Morton of Hawthorn.
And just watching McGlynn on Davey, he won't leave his side, even with 5 or 6 minutes to go in the quarter. He's sitting on him, pushing him, annoying him, and the game's well and truly won. Great concentration from a tagger and defender.
There he is, look at that.
He's just into him, and this is out on the half-forward flank, nowhere near where the ball is.
4.5 to go. Davies just put up his hand and said, I want to come off.
Well, no doubt, he just had a 100-metre chase. It was a great chase, pity.
And McGlynn sensed that and is now...
He's off.
Not that far from the ball carrier. He sensed that Davey can't go with him in this package and may well have ended up with it just in that possession there, but they ignore him. White cross. Into the middle.
McGlynn's going to go forward and get a kick here, I reckon.
Missed by the big fella. Taylor.
Davies coming off the ground slowly, Smithy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jared, I don't think he has to worry about the turnover too much because Aaron Davey wasn't even looking at the ball, he's just coming straight from the ground.
Jamie Bennell in game 8. Green didn't go off the mark. A lot of people would believe that's play on, but because he didn't step off the mark, it's not. You can see Davey recovering on the sidelines. Here's James McDonald. Sylvia presents up to the ball and takes the mark.
Goal square.
Now Robinson comes deep in the pocket. That's where it goes, but the help got back in Brown.
Great play by Brown.
Efforts were good, but it was very courageous by Mel Brown's boy Campbell.
I mean, the game's all over. They've won they're well ahead, and still going back with the fly to the ball. There's been a great contest between Brown and Russell Robinson, and here's Whelan breaking his nose on the back of Chance Bateman's elbow.
Not a good way to finish.
No, they always hurt. Waxing the nose.
There's McGlynn. The white cross. And now Muston.
You think we'll see Campbell Brown move forward, Hurdy, second half of the season if the Hawks get their full contingent back?
Well, it depends when they end up playing Luke Hodge, Jared, whether they do go put him back in defence or give him a run through the midfield in the second half of the year.
Here's Frawley. An attacking thrust forward that's not all that well directed. Miller strong at the ball. Maloney now. Handball looking for support. Nothing there. Now the Hawks mount a counter-attack out of defence. Mitchell. Sideways handball. Bateman sets him up with a foot pass.
You're still not going to have Crode back until, if he does come back, until deep into the year. So you're going to be one tall down, and I can't see Campbell Brown being able to move forward at least till almost finals time.
It's where Dowler becomes a really important player for them. And Muston even.
Muston across half-back or a tallish forward.
It just seems to me that, I know Hodge has been injured, but it seems to me the competition's worked out how to play Hodge this season. I'd be staggered if they don't
looks
try
like
something different with him.
Looks like Hawthorn have closed the shutters here and said, we're happy with a 28-point lead.
No, you know what I think, Jared? The competition's worked out how to play an injured Luke Hodge.
Well, that's the only element.
I still reckon at his peak fitness, when he's got his lateral movement and ability to get to that second man up in the contest, he's still very valuable across half-back, setting up the play.
A ball up right underneath our commentary position on the northern wing is McLean.
Here's the turnover.
Straight to Osborne. He was under pressure, McLean. And they refused to attack.
What will be interesting, I reckon, BT and Hurdy, is when the Generals come back, whether they maintain this man-on-man defence or whether they go back to last year's version of the cluster of the zone.
I think they've got to go back to the cluster, though. I mean, it was so successful for them. And even in this game, Melbourne have been, at times, been able to score relatively freely, kick 2 or 3 goals at a time, which sides weren't able to do against Hawthorn last year because of that all-over zone defence.
Yeah. So you think it is just a matter of the young guys not quite up to speed on the zone yet?
I think so. I think the zone requires very smart players who are able to know when to go and when to stay and when to guard space and when to guard a player. And if they get those players back, I think that, it was one of the pillars of Hawthorn's success last year.
Well, Hawthorn's good game here is really peeving their supporters off towards the end. They want one more, and they're not happy. And I don't blame them. Finally, they go forward with the kick and they get the Bronx cheers from their supporters here. But immediately, they turned over. So I guess that's why they perhaps were reluctant to do. There's now McLean with only 5 seconds on the clock. We won't have any further scoring here today as Sylvia's clip. Will he get 50? He will. It's going to be 50 metres, I think. And it is 50. So the siren will sound and end this one. Hawthorn will add no further score. The clock has stopped on about 1 or 2 seconds. And a bit of a blue is erupting here at the G. This will be interesting because they're about to shake hands. And at the moment, they're boxing.
Don't think anybody's truly interested in it.
Come, boys, save your money. Save your money.
Save your money, says the umpire.
Smart call by the umpire.
I think everybody's had enough.
It's
Energy
expensive,
levels are too far down for a wrestle.
expensive exercise when you start wrestling in the AFL these days.
Umpire Brett Roseberry, the man officiating there. In the meantime, Sylvia will line up.
Well, he's going to finish off with 37 possessions and 4 goals won if this goes through.
Siren sounds. Players still niggly with each other. Sylvia comes in and drills it home. And he kicks his 4th goal, as you say, Gerard. And Melbourne making the scoreboard look very respectful with just a 22-point loss to the reigning premiers.
Well, that's Sylvia's best ever game for Melbourne by a hell of a long way, and it's something for the Demons to build on. But in the finish, I think, out of this match, we've seen a Melbourne side who are continuing to develop, but we've seen a Hawthorn side just remind the competition that they are well and truly still in it.
This program brought to you by